Hello, everybody. Welcome into PGR Thursday Night Heat Series. Got a special event for you here tonight. It is the first inaugural PGR Team Draft event. And if you're just tuning in, appreciate you being here on Ghost Racing Network. Drivers just got rolling. Had a couple last-minute things that we had to get set up. But let's head right down and get into your starting grid before we get into the race and more about this special event we got here tonight. Kevin Freese, one of the team captains, going to be starting on pole. He'll have Gabe Butler to his outside, starting second. Ken McCall Jr. back in third. He'll have Anthony English to his outside in fourth. Kyler Wynn and Heath Job going to be making up row three. Andrew Navarro, another one of the team captains, he'll start seventh with the captain to his outside in eighth. Cody Nagels will start ninth. It's going to be Matt Lee rounding out your top 10. 11th is going to start John Ward, Garrett Maines in 12th. Thomas Parker back in 13th with Jason Maines in 14th. Nash Brambilla and Matthew Baker making up row 8. John Ellis Jr. and Vicente Guerrero making up row 9. It's going to be Michael Triscaro and Kenneth Stamper rounding out your top 20. Sean Corbett, Joshua McCall make up row 11. It's going to be Christopher McCall and Ron Morse Jr. in row 12. John Mullihan and Trevor Osbornoff in 25th and 26th. Devin Rea and Dawson Wise making up row 14. And it's Richard Elliott and Rhett Tucker rounding at your top 30. Dustin Carruthers, Ryan Bass, 31st, 32nd. Mike Davenport in 33rd. Bradley Stefan, 34th. Brock Westmoreland, Mark Vondell, Jacob Emery, DJ Thomas, and the rest of the field as away we go. Green flag is in the air. We're racing at Talladega. First lap complete, and it's going to go to Gabe Butler in the number 88 truck. First thing you're probably going to notice here is where's our second broadcaster tonight, Matthew Baker. He's actually one of the team captains out in the field tonight, so we'll see him on the track. Not so much up here in the booth. Right now, though, it's still Kevin Freese leading on the inside. And ironically enough, you might have noticed there when we were going over the grid, a lot of team captains here tonight were the ones that were starting inside your top 10, but as Gabe Butler gets a little bit of a charge, he is not one of the team captains. Let's talk a little bit more about exactly what we're looking at here for the format tonight. It's the Kanawha Valley Key Fob 146 here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. That means we're going to run 55 laps. As per usual, everybody's going to have 60% fuel, unlimited tires, one fast repair, and fixed setups. Track length, 2.65 miles here at Talladega. Track temp at the start of this race was 106. Doesn't seem to be giving anybody too many issues to start. Now, the best way we could annotate this for you here tonight is, well, basically, here's how we started. We had, I believe it was 12 team captains. In fact, I could double check that. And sure enough, I think we had 12 team captains. Either way, the amount we had, all of them got to pick a certain amount of drivers. And that's their team is we're going to wreck. First wreck of the night. And it's going to be the big one. Saw a truck blinking. And now we got a couple around on the backstretch. It's a mess. No caution yet. And there it is. Manual cautions was one of the things here tonight. Race control saw it at the back end of it. It's going to catch it and was seeing if anybody got too much damage from it. Saw a couple cars hit the inside wall, including one of the captains, Jeff Merck. There's Nash Brambilla. And one of the ways I was going to note that you were going to be able to tell who's who here tonight was by the name on their driver card. There you go, Team Navarro for Nash Brambilla. And speaking of Navarro, I think his team captain, Andrew Navarro, was one of the guys that I saw spin around in this. And yeah, he does have a little bit of left side damage. So that one's going to collect a couple of the team captains. Let's go back and take a look at what brings out this first caution. Noted we saw the truck blinking a little bit. Couldn't tell if that was what caused the first spin. They were 3 wide, getting pretty aggressive. This is coming off of turn 2. And everybody looks in line, and then it looks like there might be a checkup about the middle of the pack. So often the causing factor of a big wreck here at Talladega. And it looks like that's what's going to catch everybody right here. Let's see if we can get a better angle of that. Watch slow. Check up right in that middle lane. It was being led by Gabe Butler. I think that was the 44 truck that maybe gets to his back bumper. Either way, it's a little bit of a stack-up effect, and it's going to get amplified big time here. Started with what looked like the 04 of Matt Lee, I believe. And no, I take that back. It's actually going to be the 760, I think. So it's Heath Job was the first truck to get a little bit out of line through this. And you see him jump out, and then it's just everybody's going to get involved in this one. And then once he gets down the track, everybody else, it's just a mad dash trying to get through the mayhem, smoke everywhere. And boom, big hit for John Ward, another team captain. Sean Ellis Jr., another team captain. I mean, this took out a whole bunch of them. Let's take a look from the cockpit view here. Let's go back to, actually, let's go to Andrew Navarro. He was one of the guys that spun and probably got one of the bad ends of the stick on this one here. Let's see how bad he gets it. Comes to a rolling stop. Is able to get it back fired up. Other people not so lucky. Saw John Ellis Jr. Don't know if his was fast repair worthy or not, but he certainly took a hit. And then Jeff Merck, see a couple people talk about it in the chat. Bad luck for the 60. I mean, it just continues. Seems like each and every week this guy cannot catch a break. Here's your final look at it. We'll back it up to see Jeff's point of view. Once they first get out of shape, Matt Lee does spin around. That's what collects a couple more, and that's actually what gets Jeff collected. Was trying to hold on, couldn't quite do it. But as we go back live, everybody does have that fast repair as per usual. But it's definitely going to change the pace of the race right here. Some people are going to have to go to the back now and be conservative. Some of them going to be coming to the front, staying aggressive. But it's Trevor Oswernoth right now out in front. He is on Team Ward, not with all his usual KSR guys tonight. We saw the team captain, John Ward, get involved in that last incident. Back in second right now, it's going to be Chris Blanchard. How about after that wreck? He's up 37 positions now from where he started. That's how quickly things can change. He's one of the Team Ellis boys. Kevin Freeze back in third, one of the team captains here tonight. So is Cody Nagels. Talked about Gabe Butler, one of the first picks on the board for Team Ellis. Garrett Maines, team captain, no surprise there. Same for Ken McCall Jr., Kyler Wynn, and Jason Maines. And with 12 team captains in the field, it's a lot of guys. You figure that's a fourth of the field as team captains. Everybody else was swept up by captain. Now, breaking down the format and sense of payouts and what these guys are all fighting for here tonight. The team with the best average finishing position, and granted, there's no extra points on the table for anything such as being cleaner than the other guy or leading the most laps. It's just which team has the highest average finishing position. They're going to go home with $600. You figure, let's say you split that 4 ways. That's $200 per team member. Now you switch it up, and I believe that is most teams do have 4 guys. Yep, sure enough, all of them have 4 guys. We had a 48-truck sellout here tonight, and there's individual payouts too. We'll talk more about those as the race goes on. But who's going to help each other here tonight? Not the guys that usually work together, that's for sure. But early on, I thought there'd be a little bit more, I guess I would say, conservation and how everybody was racing. But no, they went at it right from the get-go, and that's what we like to see. I think Cody Nagels is going to jump to the outside right away now. In this position, if you're Chris Blanchard in that number 9 truck, you know you're on Team Ellis right now. Your best bet is going to be to look for some more teammates. He's got a team captain that's sitting behind him. Cody Nagels, you know he's not going to give him any help. But Gabe Butler back in that 5th position. These two can find a way to get together. They're going to try to stay together for as long as possible. Next pit stop, though, as we're 6 of 55 laps in, I would expect to be probably somewhere around lap 22. Maybe a little bit more. These guys can probably run about 18 laps or so on fuel, if I had to guess, right around that fuel window. So maybe more like 24. It's going to be close, but I don't think they'll be able to make it on one stop just yet. But if we get a caution, probably any time about after lap 28, then the rest of these guys are going to all come back down to the pits, top off on fuel. And we'll see how they decide to do pit strategies. Do you pit with guys that you trust, or do you pit with your team? I mean, from what we heard in the draft beforehand, everybody seemed really excited about the event, and everybody was plenty working together. Committed to the idea of working with whoever's on your team tonight, rather, is how I meant to put it, instead of the guys that you normally work with. And I think it's a really cool idea here that PGR's put together. We're going to have an exciting race at the end, especially with those individual payouts on the line. Nobody can forget about those. There's John Ellis Jr., now sitting at the back of the pack. Talked about one of the team captains, Nash Brambilla for Team Navarro. He's going to be looking to get back up to his teammate who sits currently about middle of the pack, Andrew Navarro, in 32nd. And they're going to try to go to the front. David Davis. Don't normally see him out here tonight. Here he is already up 17 from where he started. Another Team Navarro driver. But up front, it's all Trevor Oswornoth, and he's getting ready to see the green flag back in the air. Through the gears, we're going to go. The 89 gets a pretty good jump with a good push from Kevin Fries. Further out back, long single file line. We had a lot of drivers top off, either finishing off some repairs. We're topping off on fuel. Rhett Tucker in the 99 up to the top line was actually the truck just behind him. And that is going to be the 73, it looks like, of Ryan Baste, rocking a new paint scheme here tonight. He's got the 76 of Ron Morse Jr. just behind him. And we'll talk about this too more throughout the broadcast, but some of the picks didn't come exactly where you would have expected them. Here's a big move on Chris Blanchard. They're going to split the 9 right down the middle. Cody Nagels to the inside with Garrett Maines, and Blanchard is going to go all the way to the back unless he can get some help. You see Dawson Wise and Matthew Baker both tucking to the inside. I'm thinking Chris maybe wanted to fall back, unless he made just a little bit of a move that opened it up for these guys to all split him 3 wide. And that gives the lead back to Trevor Oswornoth as Cody Nagels is trying to get a run let up on that outside. And here's a little mutual respect right now being shown between a couple captains. Garrett Maines continues to push Cody Nagels. In fact, make it 3 captains on the outside. You got one in Kevin Fries on the inside. He is pushing Trevor Oswornoth right now. Doesn't really have anywhere to go. Gabe Butler in the 88 truck still stuck on the inside, 3rd row back. As we go back a little bit further in the pack, everybody's sorting it out. Looks like Blanchard has tucked in line back here. There is the 44 of Anthony English, another one of the first-round picks. Got involved in that early wreck, I believe, but it's been turning a lot of heads tonight. Going in the first round. Everybody knows he's a great super speedway racer, even though we don't see him so much here in PGR. Making an appearance tonight to see if he can win himself some money. Another one of the new guys that we're seeing here tonight, DJ Thomas. Again, though, you talk about no surprise in terms of talent level. He was another one of the early round picks, as we have had a little bit of chaos here up front. Everybody trying to get back in their respective lines. Somebody almost went around down the front stretch. I wasn't able to tell what caused it. And while they all do gather back up, let's back this up to the short chute down to 1 to see where it all went so wrong. Going to the TV follow. 2x2 they are, and it's just going to be a little checkup. Oh, no, there was contact. The outside, watch Dawson Wise. Is it a checkup on the outside? Yeah, it is. You saw the fire out of the pipes of the 05. Dawson gets into the back. Joshua McCall, he gets down into his dad, former teammate, not tonight, and captain, Ken McCall Jr. They save it. Josh has another big moment, but another big catch. And because of that, we stay green, but it has separated these packs a little bit. And some of these guys that are way towards the back, they could be in danger of losing this pack here if they're not careful. John Ward, he's going to be in danger of going a lap down here soon. One of the captains with a tough break. Started a new team before tonight, HyperX Motorsports. I believe it's actually just Hyper Motorsports. But tonight he is working with the guys that he drafted, and you couldn't draft one of your teammates until the 3rd round. So those first 2 picks that these guys had to make were just guys that they felt like they could be comfortable pushing, even if they're not used to normally pushing them. Trevor Oswornoth jumped up to the outside. That gave Kevin Fries some fresh air on the inside. And they have remained 2x2 since we got the green flag back in here. When they come up on John Ward here, we'll see how John handles it. Going to be the first truck, I believe, here to go a lap down. And as long as he's able to stay with this pack, he should still be in lucky dog position. But I know he probably didn't want to go a lap down this early, that's for sure. Going back, there's Rhett Tucker. Just behind him, DJ Thomas. John Mullihan in the field tonight. There's the number 2 truck currently sitting back in this little bit of a smaller draft. This is the guys playing the strategy of just playing it safe right now. They figure there's no need to do anything too crazy. Take a ride on board here with John Mullihan for a minute. And there's a look at the dashboard speeds. 191 miles an hour just about entering turn number 3. Shows you just how fast these guys are running here tonight. And speaking of John Mullihan, you might have noticed there on the top right screen, scrolling through every once in a while, the sponsor of tonight's race actually hopped on a little bit later. Kanawha Valley Key Fob, mobile lockout service and key fob replacement. If you're anywhere near the Charleston, West Virginia area, make sure you check them out. They do specialize in automotive key and fobs. John Mullihan, one of the great guys that has been around money racing for so long, and I believe the Key Fob is still relatively, in at least perspective, a newer business that he started up. Of course, works at a pawn shop as well, but it's had great success with it so far, so make sure you go check it out as we got a wreck on track. That was a close one for Mullihan. Did he miss it? I think he did. And, man, it's carnage out back. Kenneth Stamper, he's got major damage. Jeff Merck is in this one again. And the 98 of Dawson Wise, one of our broadcasters and racers, I think he got the worst of the suspension. Looks to be absolutely ripped out of that truck. Front end heavily damaged. And he may have to get this thing towed. Yeah, you can see the left front is not even, it's not even connected, bouncing around. We're definitely doing a lot of repairs here early. This is going to really change the outcome of this race late in the going, as it's starting to come down to who is going to have those fast repairs saved up at the end, as we've seen a lot of them have to get used here early. Let's take a look at what brings out your second yellow here of the night. They were 2x2, all seemed pretty good. Everybody seemed pretty calm, like they were minding their P's and Q's. And Dawson Wise, the first one to get turned around there on the back straightaway. It was the 761. I think that's William Fox, who was just behind him. The 760, Heath Joe, but the 761 is sure enough William Fox. And watch it slow here. Does he just... Oh, there's a stack up. You see the stack up further up, goes to Mains, and then just translates all the way back to Dawson. At the same time, William Fox had just jumped to the outside of Dawson. And I couldn't tell if there was a little bit of netcode or if it was indeed contact. We'll try to take a look here, actually, from William Fox's view on the left front. And here we go. Watch it slow. Jumps to the outside, and yeah, that is contact. Hits the right rear of Dawson Wise. That sends Dawson around, and now the chaos is going to ensue. Everybody's going to try to miss this one. This wreck a little bit harder than what we saw on the last one, as Dawson gets into the outside wall. A couple of trucks here with just nowhere to go, and then, oh man, I think Mullihan maybe just slightly clipped him. And then the Envoy. This was late after the wreck started. Stamper, nowhere to really go. He makes hard contact. And I'm thinking Stamper's view had to have been a little bit obstructed here. Sometimes it is, and yeah, that's what it's looking like. The caution does not fly right away here because it's manual. And you can see, yeah, he has no idea. I mean, that's a tough break for Stamper. He starts to see smoke, starts slowing down. Everybody scatters, and oh man, there's just nowhere to go. Dawson with the big hit, though. Let's take a couple more looks at it from the wall cam. That's the only issue that sometimes you run into when it's manual cautions. You get a big wreck like this, the caution doesn't come out immediately. Guys further back in a pack maybe can't see, don't know. And you hate to see that many trucks get torn up. That looked like initially was going to only be about a one, maybe two truck incident. But then the secondary wave is what really caused the big accident that we just saw here. Boom. Talked about John Mullihan just squeaking by. I don't think he got quite that lucky. We were riding on board actually talking about him there just before the caution flew. And here we go. Take another ride on board with John Mullihan. He's going to see the wreck. Looks like it's to the outside. He's going to hold it. Now he starts to get a little... Oh, man, I think he just scrapes the right side, if anything. Don't think he's going to have to use a fast repair on that one, and that is good news if you're John Mullihan. Back up front, I bet your new leader, Bradley Steffen, in the 37 truck. One of the Garrett Maines team drivers here tonight. Kevin Fries just behind him, still hanging around second. Easily one of the most consistent top 5 guys that you'll find in the entire series. No surprise to see him as a captain here tonight. Another no surprise, Cody Nagels has himself a couple wins here in the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series. Gabe Butler just behind him. Garrett Maines rounding out your top 5. Going back to 6th, it's going to be Matthew Baker with Trevor Osbornoff in 7th. Jason Maines in 8th. Ken McCall Jr. in 9th. And Brian Kaiser making a return tonight. Ken McCall Jr. liked what he saw in this 07 truck. He picked him up here for tonight. We'll see what he can do. I know one of the guys that was really excited for this event. Kevin Fries, Matthew Baker. I mean, all the captains, to be honest. But, you know, I heard Kevin beforehand. Some of these guys had draft board setups and everything else. I mean, they were really, really pumped for it. Now let's see if we can't get a quick word here potentially with one of your team captains, Mr. Kevin Fries. And hey, Kevin Freeze, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Well, man, we were talking about how cool of an event this is. A couple wrecks early, but first thing I want to ask you here is, in the event itself, you're one of the captains. How are you feeling about it so far?
I like it. Everybody gets to know each other a little bit because you just know your team. We're all in separate Discord channels, so this is nice just to hang out. I know some of us do anyway, but you got some people who don't exactly like each other all the time on teams, so it's pretty interesting.
Well, it's hard to make a strategy when you're not with your normal teammates. So on that note, do you really have any sort of strategy here for tonight, or is it more or less the classic, just kind of push who's in front of you and try to go to the front?
Mostly for me, it's stay at the front because stay at the front. And then I told the guys, this race is all about surviving at least the first 40 laps and then go race your butt off. Because as we've seen, number of incidents, and you just want to stay out of that as clean of a truck as possible for the end.
All right, well, getting ready to take the green flag. Thanks for giving us a quick word. We'll see if we're talking to you in victory lane, and if your team's won, bringing home the $600 here tonight. Good luck.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Enjoy the race.
That's Kevin Freeze going to slide him back up to his team here before we're all said and done. And I think Kevin might be one of the farthest teams away here. See if I can find him here before we start. There we go. Got him back, and just in time. Here we go, back into the restart zone. 15 laps complete, and we are back racing here at Talladega. It's a good start through the gears for Bradley Steffen. Kevin Freeze on the outside. Talked about one to stay at the front. A little bit of a stack up further back here. These are big fields at Talladega. That's what you always worry about on restarts. Somebody gets just a little bit of a slow start or a little bit of a checkup, maybe getting too early of a start. Kyler Wynn back here, one of the captains, and I believe he's actually the only non-American driver in the field tonight, at least of origin. One of the Canadian drivers here in the field, and so far so good, but he's got his work cut out for him now as he's towards the back. And how about one of the guys returning here tonight as well, John Darnell. Haven't seen him here in a few weeks, been getting some personal stuff together, but he's back, and he was one of the picks for Team Freeze. Just talked to Kevin, and John's an exciting pick. We'll see if he can maybe bring home the victory here tonight. Be a cool place to get your first victory at during the team draft event. Could double down. I mean, $200 to the winner, plus 602 team. You could be going on with almost $400 if you find a way to win this race tonight. Matthew Baker, one of the captains that we haven't talked too much about so far here tonight, was the last pick for the first round, so he got to pick two guys off the bats. Kenneth Stamper, I believe, was his first pick. He's feeling pretty confident about what he's got to work with here tonight, but he's trying to get the job done himself right now as he is already up 11 from where he started and has now cracked his way into that top 5 position. Dawson Wise, who was heavily damaged in that last wreck, update on that. He is currently sitting a little bit further back in the pack, still trying to make up positions in 30th, but still a long ways to go. As I was looking at, I think now it should be a one-stop race. 18 laps on fuel. It's going to be close. Some of the guys that aren't leading, though, they'll be able to save more fuel as they continue to work the draft. We'll keep an eye on that fuel window here as it gets closer. Seems like each restart that we have now, that front pack just continues to shrink. Not a lot of side drafting going on either. You see Cody give Kevin a bump there down in the corner. He can afford to do that, just as Kevin can afford to jump up. Going to let Cody cool off here, trying to control the lanes. See, it's so important here at Talladega as we had one truck get sideways down the back straightaway. In the back, they had to jump out of line. I think they were able to get back in. Couldn't tell exactly who it was. And every time that we think we're getting it together, these guys make your heart skip another beat. There's John Ellis Jr. Driving with a couple guys there hanging way back. I mean, within the span of less than 5 laps on this restart. Look how spread out this front, I guess you would say pack, but at this point it's more than just a pack has gotten. Jeff Merck looks to be the last truck in this general front group. And then David Davis, John Darnell, Thomas Parker, all by themselves right now. And Andrew Schroeder coming back out on track after he had some issues early. Garrett Maines now leading the inside. Cody had jumped up to the top. Track temp, remember, the hotter it is, the better that outside tends to roll. And wasn't exactly all that hot here today at 101 now, and it is 240 sim time. So we'll see if it goes up or down, fluctuating just a little bit. Winds calm at 2 miles an hour. So you'd think the inside would roll here, but showing you why he's a team captain is just about all 4 of the guys in the top 5 right now that are your captains. The 2 that are leading the way, though, Freeze and Cody Nagels. Garrett Main's just behind Cody, but continues to jump back and forth. For everybody watching home that says, why doesn't he just stay in one line? These trucks get hot really, really quick. Cody, if he wants to maintain his position, he'll jump up, and you're always playing that little bit of a risky game on will Kevin Freeze, in this case, split you 3 wide. Usually there's enough mutual respect for these guys to know that if they're just controlling lanes and not really throwing blocks, they usually stick with them and push pretty good for now, and you don't know who your teammates are, so you don't necessarily know who's going to go with you. And we're seeing that 3rd lane start to form up now on the outside as we get down into turn 3. Trying to figure out who was leading it. You saw Ken McCall Jr. jump down to the middle, and now a couple more are going to drop down. Jason Maines, another one of the captains. One of the, I would say, on the backside of the qualifying efforts for the captains here tonight. Started out, I believe it was 14th. But he is back up here having a good run as Gabe Butler and Matthew Baker jumping to the outside. That is one of the Ellis drivers leading that 3rd lane. We're going to make it 4 wide. Here we go. Looking to the outside now. It's going to be the 05 of Joshua McCall. Is he going to think better of it here? No, he wants to get aggressive. He's trying to get 4 wide on Jason Maines. Jason not going to let it happen there as he's able to hold off the charge. The 22 of Devin Ray behind him. Those 2 are teammates when it's not an event such as this, but here tonight, not so much. Freeze back down to the middle. Inside, rather, as Gabe Butler's going to drop to the middle. That pushes Cody to 2nd. Matthew Baker still up the top. Big block by Gabe Butler. He is looking aggressive here so far tonight. Going back to the cockpit view here. Show you just how aggressive this pushing is. In fact, we'll go a couple spots back. Taking a ride on board here with Richard Elliott. And he is one of the guys carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight, which we haven't shown just yet. Gonna figure now is as good of a time as any. There's Richard Elliott holding a nice, smooth, steady wheel, and a couple guys in front of him. We do have another onboard in front of him, and that's going to be Mr. Trevor Osronoff, currently sitting in that 8th position. And there's the side-by-side view of these 2, both trying to hold a steady wheel as we now focus in on Trevor Osronoff. Remember, he has a win here in the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series. Hasn't ran an event like this yet, but he's got a lot of hopes here for tonight. One of the KSR guys usually has a lot of talent. The driver behind the number 89 tonight. Gabe Butler out front, still leading the way. Gabe is one of the best pushers you'll get. A lot of times, though, he doesn't tend to get too aggressive in terms of the move he makes, but man, he's been throwing his weight around early, and it's been working well. It's kept him up front. And a lot of times when you can kind of establish a certain amount of dominance early in terms of controlling the lanes, it gives guys some extra respect for you late in the run, knowing that you know what you're doing. And certain guys are more comfortable just pushing a guy like that than trying to make a pass on him towards the end of a race. That 3rd lane continues to form up as, we got a wobble. That's the 07. Hold on to it, man. That was a close call right there for Brian Kaiser. And he is pushing his teammate here tonight. The team captain, that is Ken McCall Jr. And they're both trying to get Bradley Steffen to continue going forward as it's another big move for Gabe Butler down to the bottom. Continues to play with fire, but he's making it work for now. Looking a little bit deeper in the pack for series owner and one of the guys running here tonight. And again, another one of the early round picks. And that was Michael Triscaro running the 41 truck here tonight. And he's always the 34 on cam, but official-wise. And he is another one of the guys carrying it on board for us here tonight. Looking for a win. And he is right in the middle of the Hornet's Nest right now. He is going to have to stay extra vigilant right now as it is not going to take much, and he could find himself in the danger zone. Going by the lap truck of Thomas Parker in the 51. Thomas, again, normally one of the KSR guys, but tonight he's had a couple struggles. And we are not quite halfway yet, so he's still got some time to try to get things sorted out. But you certainly never like going a lap down here and have to fight to get it back. Anything can happen, though, and we have seen some crazy endings. Anything from photo finishes to the whole field except for 1 or 2 guys wrecking at the end. And it looks like right now Thomas Parker is actually being scored as the first truck a lap down. Andrew Schroeder currently also 1 lap down. Kenneth Stamper being scored out of the race. I'm not sure if he was involved in that first wreck as well, but whether that's the case or not, that is a tough blow for Matthew Baker with his first round pick getting taken out this early. And a lot of fishtailing going on in the middle of the pack, just a lot of dirty air. The trucks, they like to dart around, and your goal is to just follow the guy behind you when you're pushing. Anybody that's not second in line, though, they're not pushing. They're just trying to stay as close as possible. Talladega isn't quite as smooth as it looks. Everybody hits these little bumps through the corners. Then there's a big bump in the tri-oval. Doesn't take much to get the trucks upset. Sends a couple guys out of shape. And before you know it, we get some contact. One thing, though, that we haven't seen yet tonight has been any net code. That's for the best. Let's keep it up. That third lane continues to try to work, but they're starting to die out. Ken McCall Jr. pushing Bradley Steffen. They got Brian Kaiser and Devin Ray behind them. Usually 4 trucks, enough to make some progress, but they may have ran out of temps. As you see, Ken is having to sag just a little bit back right now from the back bumper of that 89. There's John Mullahan with a little bit of left side damage. We'll see if he chooses to go to the third lane. Right now, though, he seems nice and comfortable behind Vicente Guerrero. A little bit of a checkup for that middle line. You see it amplify the further back it goes. But speaking more on Vicente Guerrero, that 14 truck just in front of John Mullahan, another one of the first round picks. And not too surprised to see it. He's a heck of a driver. Good to see him out here tonight. Used to be one of the Dale Cup guys, and you remember just how much of a pack they punched when we saw them weekly here at the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series. And as the 3 wide continues up front, the 2 wide continues out back. Christopher McCall currently sitting in 30th, one of the guys that's gone in the wrong direction since the start of this race. He is now back 8 spots from where he started. Sean Corbett just behind him, and Kyler Wynn still sitting back here. Mark Vondell, one of the team win drivers here tonight. Mark picked up by a very, very, very good captain here tonight in Kyler Wynn. And Mark has gotten some wins in varying series for any sort of super speedway money racing. So we'll see what Mark can do here tonight. Oh, man, there was some contact right there to the left rear between Brian Kaiser and Bradley Steffen. That is a no-no, and that was a very, very close call. We could have saw the 89 getting turned around in the wrong direction, as now the 89 is going to get split 4 wide. To the back goes Bradley Steffen, and that's going to trap Devin Ray and William Fox on the outside by themselves. The 89 may have hit the outside wall, in fact, as he continues to fall positions. I was looking for him here. And I think he was able to get back in line before he got all the way to the back. So as they stay 2 by 2 up front, you got to tell yourself they're going to drop in line sooner or later. Gabe Butler continues to control the lanes, doing a nice job as Matthew Baker tries to lead the outside with a push from Jason Maines. And now you're starting to see guys start to drop down to that inside line. It's fading out. We're down to 5 trucks on the outside for now. And that's because pit stops going to be coming up shortly here. Matthew Baker, you know, he would probably much rather get clear in terms of the front instead of having to fall back a bit and drop down in line. And looking at pit stops, these guys should probably have to go in somewhere around lap 32 to 34. That's going to be your general fuel window. And on that mark, it's going to be really, really close on whether or not they can make it the rest of the way. I don't think they'll quite be able to. There will be one more pit stop in store with these guys being able to make around 18 laps on fuel. And just ahead of this lead lap, oh, the 89 of Bradley Steffen, he's slow. In fact, he's rolling here potentially to a stop. Not sure what happened with the 89, but he's having major issues. Let's see if we can get a quick cockpit view. That truck's off. He's had major, major issues. Wonder if he ran out of fuel or something there on the front stretch. Remember, he took the lead. You got to wonder, did he try some strategy with it? I think he did. Take a listen here to the 89. This is coming out of turn 4. I think it's going to start sputtering on him. It does. Yep, you hear it start tripping a little bit, starts sputtering, and that's why he got past really quick, puts it in neutral. But man, unfortunately, that is the worst place if you're the 89 truck that you could run out of fuel. 2.65 miles is a long ways to go here when you don't have any fuel to do it. And I think he might get around to pits. It's going to be close. If he can, he's going to have to tow. It should not draw a caution as it's off the racing surface and only one truck. And take a look in the chat here tonight. Forgot to give everybody a shout out. Appreciate everybody tuning in here tonight, rooting on your fans. Hamhawk says, let's go KSR. Good luck, KSR. May the best team win, as it does look like Bradley Steffen has now officially came to a stop. Philip Wilkinson says, okay, who is Hamhawk? And Philip Wilkinson also says, let's go KSR. Bakerswamp says, let's go Baker. And Team Kevin Eagles rooting on the NSRA team that is being led by team captain Cody Nagels. Baker's mom says you can bring him in to talk later. Poor Merck. And everybody else doing all the Adams. Good to see you in here. Chris Carter says picking Garrett Maines for the win. Good to see you back in here, Chris. Everybody is having a good Thursday night. Kevin Freese back to the lead. Gabe Butler, all the shuffling, has now caught him back as the lead pusher now on the outside. Cody Nagels leads it. Matthew Baker in third. We'll see if we get a chance to talk to him here in a little bit. Again, normally our broadcaster up here, he was supposed to be, but today, one of the team captains that was originally picked canceled. And Baker, we know how much talent he's got. He was easily the next one in line for it. Got picked, and here he is looking to see if he can win himself potentially $400. And, I mean, hey, with that money, I'd rather be out there racing than broadcasting. I mean, $400 would be a sweet, sweet purse to go home with tonight. And I would have to think that they're going to split it evenly via the teams, that is. Michael Triscaro right now running behind Rhett Tucker, Vicente Guerrero, and Brian Kaiser to their inside. John Mullahan just in front of him. And, you know, Kyler Wynn, when he talked about John Mullahan, he said, I know we don't get along, and it kind of surprised. I feel like a lot of guys, John Mullahan, the first-round pick, I believe it was, again, for Kyler Wynn. But no surprise to see him up front. He's always a phenomenal pusher, and he's very aggressive, and it's working out really, really well right now for the driver from Cross Lanes, West Virginia, and the sponsor of tonight's race, Kanawha Valley Key Fob. Make sure you go check them out for all your automotive key fob needs. Here we go. We're going to get first round of pit stops. It's going to be further back. This is going to be an interesting mix, actually, of pit stops here. Thought it was a team as William Fox with a big lockup and almost slides. Now we do have one in the grass. Looks like it's the 99 of John Darnell, but they all still get in for the most part clean, no incidents. Ken McCall Jr. is going to lead him down. And in with them here, it looks like, is Sean Corbett, Christopher McCall, Dustin Carruthers, and Brian Kaiser. So this is a big mix in terms of the guys that came down. Dustin Carruthers is one of the Team McCall guys. So is Brian Kaiser and William Fox. So no surprise there. But Ryan Baste, Jacob Emery, and just a kind of a mix after that. So I think that was a scheduled pit by Ken McCall Jr. with his team as Baker. A big save right there off the front bumper of Jason Maines. Here comes the second round of pit stops. It's going to be Team Nagels being led in by team captain Cody Nagels. Thomas Parker, we got trouble out back. Ellis up into the 760 of Heath Job. The 44, Anthony English, is involved as well. Everybody else goes around him. John Ellis Jr. was absolutely flying into the pits. I would have to think he got some help with as fast as he came down the pits right there. Let's back this up while we wait this next round of pit stops to see if that was indeed the case. And here you go. Taking a look from the chopper view, Anthony English was involved in this. I believe he was pretty far back. 21 truck's going to pull off, dives extra low. And does, Ellis he locks it up. Ellis just getting in there way too hot. Try to get it load up in time, just couldn't quite do it. That's going to cost him some time, as that was probably a penalty. And now here come the front runners being led in by Gabe Butler. A couple lockups out back. So far, everybody gets in, and wow, that is a big group to all get in that well. And it's not going to work out too good. Man, that was close. And another call. This time there is contact. That looks like, couldn't tell if that was maybe the 82. Joshua McCall got together with somebody who was trying to get in, and then there was some more contact there coming into the pits. Kyler went overshoots his box just a little bit. And we're going to take a look now from the pit lane cam. I talk about it's always one of my favorite cameras to look at, and this is why. Here comes this back coming out of the pits. Let's see how the rest of the guys that already are going to pit compare. There you go. There's what would be the front runners here, depending on how this cycles out. And looks like the guys that just came down to the pits did a good job of getting in and out quick. And now it's going to be a race of who can get together before this final pit stop. And then, of course, who can hit that final pit stop the best. This group has a lot of momentum. Look to see them going flying by. Right here, it was being led by Cody when they came down into the pits, but it looks like now it's Ken McCall Jr. leading it. And as he jumps to the outside, Christopher McCall leading it, and as he jumps to the outside, it's enough momentum to get clear and catch up to the leaders, but it's not going to be enough to get by. Thought they were going to make a little bit more progress. They're going to go around the 14 here of Vicente Guerrero before they catch their eyes on the back bumper of Matthew Baker, who, by the way, is now up 10 from where he started. Biggest mover, though, inside the top 10 is going to be Rhett Tucker in the 99, doing a phenomenal job here tonight. He is up 25 positions from where he started. That's one of the Team Garrett Maines drivers. No surprise to see Garrett pick him. So 3 captains lead the way here at Talladega. It's Garrett Maines followed by Jason Maines. Those 2 teammates here on a night not like this as well. I don't really know how else to say that. Is actually Garrett's going to jump high here. Got to wonder here if he's picking up a teammate in Chris Blanchard or what he's doing. I'm going to take a guess here and say that that's not exactly what his plan was, and it doesn't look that way. He might be saving a little bit of fuel. Chris Blanchard, one of the Team Ellis drivers. Not sure what happened right there for Garrett, but he falls back in line just in front of Rhett Tucker. A lot of movement out back. Looks like Christopher McCall and Ken McCall Jr., they're pushing really aggressive to get to the front. Those trucks don't look like they're handling too well, though. They're going to continue to try to make it work. Two of the veterans in money racing, Dustin Carruthers, one of the picks for Ken McCall Jr. That team did another good job as some of these other guys in terms of getting in and out of the pits clean and fast. And with 19 laps to go, we are going to take a quick side-by-side break. We'll be right back from Talladega. Leading the way now, Christopher McCall. Stick with us. Front, now we're going to see a little four-wide action.
Crazy out of the triangle.
Oh, he gets into the lead on the record.
3x3 entering 4.
3 deep. At the flag stand, side by side, it's going to be Jason Maines winning it at Talladega. Back live at Talladega, Super Speedway for the Kanawha Valley, Key and Fob 146, and caution has flew back in the air. You saw it there during the end of the nonstop break. And Dustin Carruthers had an incident, got down below the apron, was trying to save it and get it wood up. Fortunately, just ran out of racetrack, got back up, and it was a pretty big hit for the 10 truck. Let's go back, take a look at it. First, taking a look here from the chopper view. Not sure what initially sent him off. Kamai, once he was off the track here, is not sure if he gets doored or if there's going to be... You see Dawson Wise coming down, and I think there is going to be some contact. Yeah, there is. And Dawson, did he get a little bit of the tunnel vision right here? This is an odd look. You see the front two here going to get a little indecisive. Cody Nagels, and it looks like that's Matt Lee just behind him. Those two teammates, yeah, they kind of split right here. Not sure if they were trying to bring Dawson Wise clear or what. Now you see Dawson, he starts to drift down a little bit, and then just gets down into the 10 of Dustin Carruthers. I don't believe there was any net code. Might have just got caught a little bit in that tunnel vision aspect. Focused on the back bumper of the truck in front of him so much, didn't realize that he was creeping down a little bit. And then, I mean, you see Dustin, just nothing he could do. He did everything in his power to try to get it stopped here. Slams on the brakes and holds it locked down, hoping maybe he could scrub off enough speed, but just can't do it in time. Gets back on the track, watch this hit. Boom! Big shot to the back of the 10 truck, and then coming in late there was Ryan Baste. He took a pretty big shot. Looks like it destroyed the front end of that 76 machine. Man, 10 truck almost over. That was Vicente Guerrero who actually piled in. And then John Mullihan, I think he actually misses this. Does a heck of a job. Yeah, he does. He sees it. He dives low, and wow, that was a close call for the O2. We're right on board with him in just a minute. Vicente Guerrero, though, and Ryan Bates getting the worst of it. So is DJ Thomas. Before they all slide down, I think Joshua McCall got some damage in that as well. And here's the onboard here. First off, let's take a ride on the gearbox, actually, for Dustin Carruthers. And then we'll look at John Mullihan. big impact. John Mullahan after that, 32nd, but I don't believe he got any damage here. It must have been because he decides to pit. Let's go to the cockpit view, actually the roll bar right here. Watch this view for the 0-2 of John Mullahan. Oh my gosh, just barely misses it. That's one of those ones where it's almost like an instinct, a sixth sense to a degree. You got to just kind of expect it, and you just got to know what to do. That's the second near miss now tonight for John Mullahan, and I'm telling you, from some of the races that I've done personally before, it seems like if there's a night where you miss a couple close wrecks, it's always a good sign for finishing well late in the race. We'll see if that indeed plays out as the case for the 0-2. Guess who your current leader is? Fellow broadcaster who's not here tonight because he's down on track. Matthew Baker in the number 5 truck, up 15 from where he started. Once he got to the front, he's been holding on since. Going to have Dawson Wise lining up behind him. Cody Nagels back in 3rd. Matt Lee in 4th. And another team captain, Ken McCall Jr., rounding out your top 5. Andrew Navarro back in 6th. Devin Ray in 7th. Christopher McCall in 8th. Kevin Fries in 9th. And Dylan Jones going to be rounding out your top 10. Let's see if we can get a quick interview here with Baker. Hey, Baker, this is all set up at the booth. You got a copy?
What's up, bud?
All right. Well, we talk telling the people that we don't see you here in the booth because we see you out on track. And, you know I pay you a pretty fair amount of money, but, hey, you have a chance at winning over quadruple that here tonight. Could go home with $400 if you can win the race and your team gets the best averaging finishing position. How you feeling so far?
I think our team's pretty hurt right now. Kenneth dropped through on internet connection. Nothing he could really control, so... just trying to get the best finish up here for the team, and so we have a little bit to split. Real close on fuel here, but we're going to try and make it work and try and get a top 2, top 3 at least. But it's been fun for sure up front. Just a couple connection issues and a couple bad pushes down the straight. But other than that, it's been a lot of fun racing.
Well, assuming that you're able to make that fuel number, and as the race continues to go on, do you have, I guess I should say this for the people at home, do you have any sort of thing that you keep an eye on in reference to where you need to finish to try to maybe get the team a better finish, or just trying to get yourself that individual payout? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I just think track position's been key this whole race. There's been a ton of wrecks towards the middle, towards the front. So I think you're in the front 3 rows, you're pretty safe. Trust everyone around here. You know, I got my regular teammates behind me, so not too worried about them making any dumb moves. But hopefully we can get Martinez up here, based up here. He's getting some of his damage repaired off, but it's just a lot of fun. I applaud the event and the effort put forward with this event and the draft and all the team captains, and hopefully it puts on a good finish here at these last 13 laps.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us. We'll see if we're talking to you again at the end. Good luck these next 13 laps. And put Baker back up in his room. Feeling pretty good. He sounds calm and collected. I feel like normally we would expect Baker to be a little bit more excited, more hyped up at this point in the race, but he knows how much money's on the line. He's been here, done that before, and he knows the best way to get it done here is going to be to stay calm, collected, make the right decisions. We'll see if he can do that. So he talked about fuel is going to be close. I think these guys are going to be okay. They can make at least 15 laps on fuel, and with the cautions, I think they're going to be good to go here. It's going to be 13 laps to go now. If we get to one of those green-white checkers, again, we have 3. That's where it could start to become a struggle for some of these guys. 14 laps to go now in the Kanawha Valley Key and Fob 146 from Talladega. Who is going to win the first ever team draft event? We're going to find out. Green flag is back in the air. Good start for Matthew Baker and Cody Nagels on the inside. If they roll through turns 1 and 2, you can see the track temp is heated up just a little bit as it is now. 3:07 here, sim time. It's going to make that outside line continue to roll just a little bit more and more. And at this point, guys talk about how close it is on fuel. You got to make a decision. Do you go to the front now and hope there's a caution? Or do you stay back, conserve that fuel, and then try to go at the end? Going towards the back, going to try to take a look at how all of your captains are currently running. If we miss one, I apologize. We got 12 of them as we got a little bit of trouble back here with Anthony English. And this is going to bring the caution out as the 44 slides back down into the 7. The 89 of Bradley Steffen, he's also in the grass. And this is going to bring out your 4th caution here of the night, as I think Anthony was able to get back rolling. Sure enough, he was. Some heavier damage, though, out back. Let's go take a look at it. I think Danny Barnes was the other guy involved again. We talked about the 7 truck, and I didn't see him here. I'm not sure if Danny had been a lap down at the time. Oh, he was. Okay, so let's back this up to where it starts. Had a couple things pop up about the 44, Anthony English, having some trouble tonight. Not been his night. And again, phenomenal super speedway racer, but has been caught in a lot of bad luck here tonight. And fortunately, this is going to be some more bad luck for the 44. Watch this. It's going to start up top with John Mullahan in the 02 and the 761 of William Fox. And we'll play it full speed for you here. Wow, 761 almost looked kind of odd. It almost looked as if he was trying to catch the truck. And was it a big checkup maybe? You see he checks up to get back down in line and then jumps up in front of the 02. And it actually looks, I know it looks like Mullahan hits him off center. He may have, but it actually kind of from that view looked like William jumped back down. So you see he gets up. Right here, Mullahan has him square. That's close. Looks like Mullahan does get a little bit offset to the right. The 761, I think, slightly started turning back down. But when they make that offset contact, that sends William Fox down into Anthony English. Nothing he could do. And then back up the track they go. Wow, that was a big hit for, I think that might have been Devin Ray. You see on the inside there, the 760 of Heath Job. No, that was Sean Corbett. I take it back in the 46 truck. Man, big impact. And then Anthony sliding back down and make some more contact there with Danny Barnes and one of the McCalls. I think that's going to be, is that Christopher McCall? No, actually that's Ron Morris Jr., I think. Got the McCall Motorsports sticker on the back of the truck. And yeah, sure enough, nowhere Ron could go either in this one. Let's take a couple different angles of it here. And this is one right here. You don't know how long before he's going to slide back down. You're trying to sneak down on the inside. And fortunately, a lot of guys there just couldn't make it through. The 02 of Richard Elliott is all involved in that one as well. Not sure if he really got any damage. Take a ride on board for the nose here. Anthony English. And we'll take one more view from the onboard camera here of Richard Elliott. See, he's pretty far behind this. Puts on the brakes quick. Checking up. He's going to dive low. And he misses it. Does a nice job getting checked up in time. You saw Ron Morris Jr. come around on his outside. Wasn't quite able to get checked up in time. That's some decent front-end damage for Ron. As this is what the melee looked like. They all got back up to speed. And I think John Darnell was involved in that one too. Yeah, you see he's got some left front damage. Right front, rather. But as we go back live up front, it is Matthew Baker still leading the way. And if there was any questions on fuel, it's not going to be any more. This will put everybody in the window, at least if we're able to finish this race in regulation. If we go to green, white, checkered, it's a little bit of a different story. Dawson Wise in second. He's up 26 from where he started. Cody Nagel still hanging around in that podium spot. Currently sits third. Matt Lee in fourth. Ken McCall Jr. back in fifth. It's going to be Andrew Navarro in sixth. Devin Rea in seventh, Christopher McCall eighth, Kevin Freeze in ninth, and Dylan Jones currently rounding out your top 10. Another big shout out to everybody that's out here watching tonight. 7C's hopped in the chat. I hope everybody is doing well. Couple quick reminders here, but before we do that, let's head over and talk a little bit more about what we're looking at for payouts here tonight. I know we've mentioned it a couple times, but for anybody that hasn't got to see them yet, here's what we're working with. Talked about it's a special team draft event. Those were your original captains. Those were altered just a little bit. Two of the captains, one of them being Zachary Lima and the other one being Daniel Eberhardt, were switched out for Matthew Baker. And I forgot the other captain in this case, I believe was, I'm not sure who they switched. But I know we had 12 captains nonetheless to start. It was a $28 entry fee, 100% payback as always, minus the broadcast/race control fees. Winning team, there you go. Best average finish, $600. Go down here, individual payouts. Maybe your team's not having a good night. Doesn't change your chances at it. $200 for first place tonight. That is a bigger payout than what we're used to seeing, even to win every Thursday night. 150 to second, 130 to third, and 100 to fourth and fifth. And that's why we talked about everybody right here, especially if you're the team captain. You're looking to take that first place position, go home with a chance at $400 here tonight. Boy, what a sweet payout that would be. And, you know, I keep saying 400 as I talk about it's 4-person teams. So I know I've been saying the math wrong. It would actually be 150 per person. But, you know, who knows? Maybe the team captain gets a little more. I'm not sure how these guys are going to decide to split it up. That's what we are going to have to find out at the end of this thing. And it's been a good event so far. We saw an event similar to this that Ron Morse Jr. actually put on over at RMR a little ways back. And I liked it. The only thing that I felt like was maybe a little bit of a changing for these guys is the amount of points that were, the differing points made it so hard for some of these guys to have a chance at the end. You had to be the most dominant truck. In this case, you just have to go up there and try to get it. And if you get knocked down, just go up there and try to get it again, as long as you still got a truck that runs, because all that matters is where your team is running when you cross that checkered flag. And we are approaching and getting ready to be just 9 laps away from finding out just that. Here we go. Matthew Baker, Dawson Wise back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 9 laps to go now at Talladega. Good even start, but the inside gets out to just a little bit of a sooner jump. Watch for that third lane, too, during this run to form up pretty quickly on the outside. Nobody's going to be saving fuel anymore. 2 captains tucked in line behind Dawson Wise right now. That's Navarro and Lee. We'll see how long they decide to stay patient. Cody Nagels, I think he feels pretty comfortable where he is. Ken McCall Jr., the last guy inside the top 5, but he's trapped on the inside. And as they rocket down the backstretch, a big run for Dawson Wise, but it's not going to be enough to get clear of Matthew Baker. Maybe it is into turn 3. It's just enough. We'll see if the 98 takes it. For now, he's going to stay up. Normally teammates with Matt Lee, and you got to wonder if that's playing any sort of a factor right here. And that third lane's going to jump up. Looks like Jeff Merck, another one of the team captains here tonight, had some bad luck early, fell to the back, but he's ready to make his way back to the front. Now it's going to be 4 trucks as Merck looked 4 wide for a second. Jason Maines with Rhett Tucker, Garrett Maines, they all jump to the top, and now they can't decide who wants to lead it. Jason Maines goes back down to the bottom as Kyler Wynn. Heavy damage. Ooh, man, I think he was just blinking right there. But up front, they still stay 2 by 2. We'll see how many guys decide to jump out in that third lane. It looks like Christopher McCall has made his way to the middle. Watch for the 45 to maybe jump to the outside. Ken McCall Jr. still third in line. He's got a teammate in Devin Ray behind him, Andrew Navarro. He might be the guy to jump out in front of Matt Lee, try to make that third lane roll, as it is starting to roll now. Garrett Maines, Rhett Tucker making some momentum. All these other guys are seeing that, and they want in on the pitch. Here we go. Coming into the trial. This will be 7 laps to go now. I know we got a ways, but if we make it to that white flag, this race very well could be official. Dawson Wise still controlling the middle, but here comes Christopher McCall. Not a team captain, but how sweet would it be if he could get a win here tonight? Rhett Tucker doing a phenomenal job pushing. You see him, he offsets to the right just a little bit, trying everything so that he can stay locked onto that 45 for as long as possible. Here's a big surge of momentum. Garrett locks on. That's going to get Chris clear. Inside fading heavily now as the 98 also gets clear. Chris is going to get put in an awkward position. They're going to split him here. Dawson Wise still on the inside. Now Rhett Tucker leads. We got a mayhem cluster out back. I saw somebody almost spin. They somehow saved it. Back up front, though, it is 3 by 3 perfectly for about 10 rows deep. Just when you thought Jeff Merck was out of it, he's going to split Garrett Maines. Garrett now jumps in the middle. It's not going to work. Matt Lee down on the apron. He is going to collect Matthew Baker. Devin Ray's in it, and caution is back out. The 44 slides. Anthony English in another one. Kevin Freeze, he gets involved in this. There's Matt Lee and Matthew Baker, 2 NVG guys. But 2 opposing captains here tonight. And Ken McCall Jr., another one of the veterans in the series, not going to make it through this one clean. Well, it was just too much chaos to continue going on. And let's take a look here. It's finally all going to go wrong. Take a look from the chopper view to start. Always love this view. It gives a good aerial shot of exactly what happens. Now you see Garrett. Merck's going to split. Garrett, I don't think this is where the issue actually starts. Garrett's going to jump low here in front of Christopher McCall, but it's actually further back. You see Matt Lee actually drop low. Not really drop low as much as kind of dived low. I'm not sure if he saw something and thought they were wrecking, but when he jumps low, it's hard to tell whether or not it was netcode or contact between him and Baker. See if we get a better look right here. It was really, really close. Almost looks like slight contact from that perspective. And once they get together, that sends Lee back up into Vicente Guerrero. He comes back down the track. Navarro with nowhere to go, so they 0-4 gets turned around. And Lee is also going to, or Lee goes for the spin, and then Baker up front also goes for a spin. And then everybody just trying to miss it. You see Nash Brambilla and Anthony English get together while trying to avoid the wreck. And let's watch this from Matt Lee's perspective. In fact, we'll go to his left front camera. See if he ever actually makes contact right here. So watch. He sees Garrett coming down. This is where he makes that dive down. And I don't know if he ever touches him. No contact yet. He's going to dive down a little bit lower. It's close. It might have been a slight bit of netcode between the two. And then everybody just trying to miss it from here. And I wanted to go take a look here if I could find it. On the onboard here for... Actually, we'll take a couple more views here. This is what it looked like from the TV follow. That was the first contact we saw. And then around they went. But let's ride on board here real quick with Ken McCall Jr. to see exactly what he saw here as this starts. He just couldn't check up, had nowhere to go, and then that inside wall, it comes up quick. You see he's holding the brake, sliding. He actually stops before, so the main damage he got from the front was just before he got there. The back bumper, rather, excuse me, I meant to say off the back bumper. Well, I believe it was Matt Lee. Either way, wrapping up your fifth caution here of the night and 5 to go. How about it? And it is Rhett Tucker. He's been doing everything right, been pushing aggressive, trying to lead laps, and he's finally going to get the chance to do that. He is being scored as your current leader, and the good news for him is he's got the boss man, team captain for the night. Garrett Main's going to be sitting just to his outside in second. Dawson Wise still hanging out at the front in third. Christopher McCall back in fourth. Another team captain, Jeff Merck, had a rough night, but he is now back up front running inside the top 5. Be a great way to get redemption with a win here tonight. Matthew Baker currently sitting in 6th. Vicente Guerrero back in 7th. Cody Nagels in 8th. DJ Thomas 9th. And Andrew Navarro rounding out your top 10. How about Michael Triscaro and John Ellis Jr.? These two looking to crack back inside the top 10. Got a lot of work to do. And remember, it's only top 5 payout here technically tonight. Minus the best averaging finishing position for the team, of course, where you can get that $600. A couple more people hopped into the chat. It looks like Chad Ross says, let's go Brian Kaiser and team doing a great job as usual. Austin, appreciate it, Chad. Glad to see you in here tonight. Hey, it's Deanna. Says, come on, Brambilla. Baker's mom, Don Merck, oh no. And Chad Ross says, he's too cool. Well, Nash is great to run with. Get vectored. Says Cargo Vroom and then Cargo Boom. Sure enough, appreciate you tuning in here tonight, Adam. And a couple shout-outs. Mark Vondell still leading the way with Super Chats. Haven't had one in a while. And I believe it's just because broadcasting crowd in general has tuned down. Not sure if it's a mix of football or what, but again, getting the big crowds like we see here tonight, we don't get to see as much. So we always appreciate it. And if you guys enjoy what you're seeing, just make sure you let us know either in the comments. Feel free to hit the sub button. Still on the road to 1,000. I think we're at 906. You know what? Once we hit 1,000, I personally don't really care anymore. I feel like that's the milestone. Once we get there, it's just broadcasting and watching these guys have fun from there on out. Got the one to go signal. So Rhett Tucker is going to choose the inside. Garrett on the outside. We'll see if they have this coordinated a little bit right here. Maybe Garrett has Rhett jump to the outside. Or maybe Rhett lets Garrett jump to the inside here. It's going to be a 3-lap shootout. And again, this is not overtime just yet, so everybody's fuel should still be looking good. But it's going to be 1 lap over a natural green-white checkered. So we'll have 2 laps before we can take the white flag. And if we do make it there, the race will be official. Question is, can we avoid the last lap chaos that we see happen so often in these races? And towards the back of the pack, right now, looks like We now have 42 trucks still on the lead lap. Ryan Bates, the last one of them, as he catches up to the pack. Kevin Freeze is going to need a miracle of some sort here to get back to the front with this few laps, but he's going to have a couple more captains around him. Ken McCall Jr., look for him. Those two might be able to work together, get something going. But can Rhett Tucker hold on and potentially get his first win here in the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series? Chris Blanchard, the other man carrying an onboard camera for us here tonight, forgot to mention it. But either way, green flag is back in the air. 3 laps to go. Chaos in the back. It's going to bring the caution right back out. And hold your horses. And that is with one of the captains, Ken McCall Jr., and the 07 of David Davis. This was before we even got to the restart, and I'm thinking this had to be a major, major checkup. And that's what it's looking like. We'll take a look again from the TV follow cam. Watch Ken McCall Jr. here. And he's actually going to be further up. So let's go to Ken's view on this. And there you see Ken and the 03 on the outside line. And everybody speeds up a little bit. And then everybody's going to probably slam on the brakes is going to be my guess right here. And sure enough, yeah, just a huge checkup right there. And you see Ken try to jump to the outside, but he still clips William Fox. William gets back up to the 03, and they spin out. There's the 07 of David Davis with nowhere to go. Take a couple more views of that one. Now watch how big the checkup is right there. I mean, you see William Fox, he hit Sean Corbett hard. Sean's lucky he didn't get spun out, but he hit him square. Ken almost able to avoid the 761, but just couldn't quite do it. And we saw a little bit of a stack up on the last restart, but I think it's fair to say this one was a lot worse. And that is probably going to actually help the leaders on fuel strategy. Not sure if the guys in the back wanted to see this, because that's just going to take one lap off of how many laps they have left to race and try to get to the front. But we'll wrap that caution up. Should hopefully be a little bit of a quicker caution here. Shouldn't be too much debris for the guys to clean up this time. And talked about it earlier, but appreciate everybody that carries an onboard camera for us here tonight. And one of those was Chris Blanchard, and always brings the wildest setup to the table when we talk about super speedway racing. There you go. Chris Blanchard is in the full motion sim rig, 3 giant monitors, and that cherry's sitting in. That thing moves around when they're racing. Appreciate Chris tuning in. Had a good run going earlier. Got split, and since then has not really been able to get back up inside the top 10. Here's Mom says, let's go, Merck. Don Merck says, let's get it done, Merck. We'll see if Jeff can pull it off here. Still looking pretty good up inside the top 10, currently sitting in 6th. By no means, though, is it going to be a free one. He's got his work still cut out for him. Up 2 from where he started. Dawson Wise still the big surprise. But the bigger surprise actually might be Rhett Tucker. 26 positions from where he started. Up 29 from where he started. And we've had a chance to talk to some of the team captains here tonight. I want to see if we can maybe talk to one of the drivers on how he's been able to get up here and how he's going to orchestrate a 1-2 finish here between him and the captain. Hey, Rhett, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy?
What's up?
All right, man. Well, you are looking fast here at the end. We talked about you kind of been working all night to get up here to the front. You find yourself in good position. How are you going to get you and the boss man here a 1-2 finish?
We're just going to try to hold down the front, man. Try to stay clean, not get wrecked, not get hooked, but it's going to be hard to hold everybody back behind us.
Well, earlier we heard some concerns on fuel. Are you looking okay on that number here, or are you going to be in trouble here if we go into a couple green-white checkers?
If we get another green-white checkered, I got to come get some fuel.
All right, interestingly enough. Hey, all right, thanks for talking to us then. We'll see if we can get it done right here and see if we see you in victory lane.
Thank you, man.
And I want to see if we can maybe bring somebody else in here. And I bet we bring in another one of the guys that normally broadcasts with us here, Dawson Wise. And again, he was one of the Team Nagels drivers here tonight. Not too surprised to see Cody pick him. Dawson does run NSRA, and see if we can get a word with him. Hey, Dawson, this is Austin up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Austin, I got you.
All right, well, you're going to be starting here just inside the last couple paying positions in 4th. What's going to be the strategy here on trying to get that best average team finish and also balancing that with maybe going for the win here and getting yourself $200?
Communication. I think I've got a great group of teammates tonight. It really fell well for us in the draft where I could get guys that I know and that I have good chemistry with, and we're going to be really working together and trying to make the right moves. I mean, ultimately the biggest goal I think is that $600 bonus. It's going to be a huge thing for us, but making the right pushes, making the right moves. It's big. It's all habit from here. It's either know it or you don't.
Well, speaking of habit, I guess, there's usually a habit that guys, when they want to go to the front, they jump to that outside line. We've had a little cloud cover come over here, but overall the track temp has been increasing as the race goes on. Does that affect your decision here on whether you try to get up or stay to the bottom here?
Maybe. I mean, I think being on the second row, you have a lot of control over kind of what happens. You have more time than everybody a little further back. You can watch it develop, and being able to push Garrett, who I know is going to be able to take a push right here, and just trying to get us clear. Maybe we can, try to, work something out where maybe we just hang on all the way to the end. The third line never comes, and I don't know. It's going to be waiting, seeing what happens, and trying to get Garrett out front and then going from there.
All right, well, get one done for the broadcasters. We'll see if we see you here in a couple laps.
Appreciate it, Austin.
There you go, Dawson Wise. And I mentioned that cloud cover, and normally you're probably saying, well, that's not that important. Look at the track temp. I mean, it has cooled down now by over 5 degrees in just the last probably 5 to 10 laps. And that could be enough to make a difference and help that bottom roll just a little bit better. So we'll have to see. Dawson, though, already starting on the outside, so he's going to have himself a little bit of an advantage in that case. And in chat, Baker's mom breaking the dry streak. $10 super chat donation. I believe that's the first super chat that we have had in probably a couple months. Mark Vondell, the last one to do so. But, hey, we appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying Baker's mom, and we thank you for the $10 super chat here tonight. I know Baker would certainly appreciate it if he was in here. Mike Davenport had some issue during that last caution. Not sure if he was involved in part of this checkup or if this was after the fact. Oh, did not see this. This was further up, and this got Brian Kaiser and a couple other guys involved. Man, oh man. So that shuffled them to the back. But it is going to be the first green-white checkered, so we're going to take the green. If we make it all the way around to take the white flag, this race will be official. However, if we get a caution here off the start, we'll rack them up and do it again. Could try it 3 times, but based off of fuel, I would say probably about half of this field, the front half, is hoping that this thing can finish right here and now. Can we do it? It's going to be 2 laps to go at Talladega. Here we go. Rhett Tucker on the inside. Garrett Maines on the outside looking for a 1-2 finish. Green flag is back in the air. 2 laps to go now at Talladega. It's a good jump for Rhett Tucker off the get-go. We'll see if he jumps up in front of his teammate. Garrett would not split him here. Question is, are they going to be able to hold back a third lane, and when is it going to form? Jeff Merck currently sitting behind Dawson Wise. Cody Nagels up there with his teammate. Don't look for a move there. That's Vicente Guerrero. He is another one of, I believe, Team Nagels drivers. Still no third lane yet, but a lot of jockeying for position. Now they're going to jump out. It's going to be Cody to make the first move. Vicente actually on Team Mains. Dawson's going to have to jump up to block it, but could be looking for more position here. He's now going for the lead. Rhett Tucker on the inside. Only 2 trucks in the middle for now as Ellis is going to stack up now the back bumper of Jeff Merck. Rhett Tucker trying to make a decision on whether or not he should jump up to help his teammate. If Dawson Wise gets clear to the middle, I would expect him to take it right here. Can't quite do it as we work our way into the tribal. This is going to be coming to the white flag. Race is going to be official. No wrecks matter from here. 1 more lap to go at Talladega. Who is going to win the first team draft event? Garrett Maines now with another surge of momentum in the middle. Can he drop low and pick up his teammate? He's going to try to hold off the inside. Big wreck out back. Going to collect a couple trucks and then collect a couple more. They're still wrecking out back. All eyes still up front in this 15 to 20 truck pack. Garrett Maines still leads in the middle. He's got a big push from Jeff Merck. Merck looking to try to make a move happen. Now Garrett blocks him low. Back to the middle now. John Ellis Jr. looking for another push. It's not going to work. Jeff Merck's around. It's going to collect everybody. Ellis not able to save it. Baker was able to hold on. It's still going to be a 2 to 6 truck battle. Here we go. Ward now looks to the top. Where did John Ward come from? Baker back to the bottom. He's not going to get any help. Back behind Garrett Maines he goes. It's going to be a final push to the start finish. Maines looking for a side draft. Now he's going to get into Ward. It's a drag race, but it's going to be Garrett Maines. He wins it by a fraction of a second at the line. Are you kidding me? First team draft event for PGR, and it ends in fabulous style. Garrett Maines gets the win. Holy moly, John Ward comes in second by less than 100th of a second. Vicente Guerrero, Cody Nagels, they were all able to finish pretty good, but I don't even know who got it in terms of team here. Rhett Tucker was in it, but got way out of it because of that. And what a finish. We have got to go take a look at this one. Something's telling me there's going to be some heated tempers at the end, but in terms of broadcast quality, that was phenomenal to watch right there at the line. They were beating and banging. All right, let's break this down here. Getting into turn 3 is where the first chaos is going to start. Garrett was doing a good job of blocking for the most part here. Jeff Merck was trying everything in the book to get around him. And if we go back to the front here to take just a look at that, Jeff Merck here is going to try to switch lanes a couple times on him. To the middle here, John Ellis coming with a push. So it's actually behind Merck where the contact first happens, and it's between, looks like John Ellis Jr. and Rhett Tucker. Let's look at this from the chopper cam. And do they actually touch? Yeah, they do. Some contact. I think the 45, Christopher McCall, may have just gotten Rhett Tucker a little bit out of shape right here. Was pushing hard. I think it sent Rhett up the track just slightly. And then the 5, Matthew Baker, pushing hard on John Ellis Jr. That puts him down the track a little bit. Once they make contact, Merck, unfortunately, not able to escape, and then they're all going to wash up. Ellis trying to save it. Gets into Dawson, can't quite do so. But Vicente, Cody, and even looks like DJ Thomas back there, they all are going to sneak through this. And Garrett had a big lead, but you knew it wasn't over right here because you saw John Ward, everybody else with big momentum, and here you go. This is where it gets real exciting. You see Baker is going to take a couple dives, back up to the middle he goes, and now John Ward has all the help in the world. Garrett's going to see this, and Garrett has to jump up to the top here. I'm not sure if it was contact between Vicente first and John or between John and Garrett. Let's back that up. Take a look again from the aerial view. You see Garrett, I think Garrett was trying everything to get up there to side draft John. Maybe didn't think that Vicente was offset a little bit to the left, so they make some contact, and that's going to put Garrett into John. Back that up a little bit further again. Just really hard racing right there at the line. I mean, you know that contact between these two was not intentional, I wouldn't think. And I think there was actually a little bit of netcode in terms of between John and Garrett. I think Vicente and Garrett was actual contact. Keep a close eye. No, I think they do make some contact. It's really, really close. But, man, John almost was able to wheel this thing still across the line with the win. I mean, look how close this is. Wow. And we're going to back that up to frames. I mean, I can't even see it manually, so we're going to have to take a look at this pixel by pixel. And there is your finish, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I could not tell you who actually won that. That is so incredibly close. Garrett had to have barely squeaked it out right at the line. And they still look tied there. I mean, I cannot tell. What a thriller of a finish. Let's take a look at your finishing results here for the night. And getting the win, Garrett Maines by absolutely centimeters. Barely gets it done, but nonetheless, this is showing John Ward getting the win. Now, granted, everything that I say is unofficial. So let's see if, we're going to see if we can go get official word here. I'm thinking it may have been John Ward. Let's go take a look here real quick. Give us just a moment. So indeed, we are getting confirmation that it's actually John Ward, your winner by less than 1,000th of a second. We can't tell via our cameras, but iRacing Scoring has officially put John Ward as your winner for the first ever PGR Team Draft event. And I hate to disappoint all the Garrett Maines fans there. I thought he had it at the line. Our initial scoring was showing so. But, man, when it's a finish that close, it is a hard call to make. And it looks like it was indeed John Ward. So we'll get to talk to your winner here in just a moment. But before we talk to your winner, let's talk first to your third place finish here, Vicente Guerrero. Let's see if we can bring him up for a quick word here. Hey, Vicente, this is all set up at the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, a good run for you here, bringing it home on the podium. Going to be a good payday individually nonetheless, and a good representation for the man picked in the first round. How'd you feel about your run tonight in the event overall?
It was fun. I mean, just, I was patient, enjoying my beer like usual, and just it was go time, like 10 to go, and I got, I started, seeing familiar faces up front, so it felt good.
Well, towards the end there, when you first missed that, when you missed that first wreck there coming through turns 3 and 4, and you only see a couple trucks behind you, there's always a decision on what you want to do. How'd that kind of play on your mind, and do you wish you would have done something different coming there through the tribal?
Not really. I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, I could have just jumped out and maybe get a push from Cody, but I was committed to push and finish where I was. I pushed Ward. I like Ward, so I'll push him any day.
All right, well, hey, it was a photo finish. You bring home third. Before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, my team that I was working with tonight. It was fun, just working with everybody here. It was different, and it was pretty cool. So I appreciate that. I like that idea. Whoever came up with this idea, badass.
All right, well, thank you, Vicente, and thank you for talking to us. We will hopefully see you here in the future.
Thanks.
And now we're going to bring up your second place finisher, Garrett Maines. See if we can get a word with him. Hey, Garrett, this is all set up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, since I've been broadcasting, that is easily the closest finish I've ever seen. Heck, we thought you won at the start-finish line there at the end of the race. It's looking like, though, John Ward beat you out by less than a thousandth of a second. Man, tell us about that last lap and the crazy finish following.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't realize it was even that close. I thought I lost by a lot more than that. That's kind of disappointing. I definitely feel like I could have done something to be a little bit closer, but I didn't even want it to be coming down to the wire like it did. I didn't want to throw the block on him coming to the tri-oval because I'd already thrown some serious haymakers the last half a lap, and I felt like moving on him would have been high risk. But I think it was whoever's in the 14. Whoever was in the neon green car, I was trying to make sure John was pinned up so that I couldn't be split the middle. And the guy started to peek out about a third of a car below John, and it netcoded me up into John, and we almost all died. So that was too close for comfort, but I was definitely happy to be in that situation. Huge shout out to Rhett Tucker there. Absolutely clutched up and drove from 15th up to the lead and took 1-2 on I think it was a 2-lap sprint there that we basically had with 10 to goes. That was the game changer right there. I gave up the track position with Rhett when we realized we were going to run out of gas. Everybody was going to run out of gas, but nobody else realized it. And they all drove by us. We lost all our track position and they crashed right away. So if I just stayed up there, we wouldn't have to do that. But definitely huge props to him. That was a phenomenal race. It sucks that that didn't work out for him. I felt like we had a really good shot at a 1-2 or a 1-3 there, but didn't quite work out the way we needed it to. But I'm just happy to have survived, and shout out to John for the win there.
All right, well, we are still awaiting the official results on which team won, but one of the two team captains finishing in the podium. Congratulations on the second place finish. Before we let you go tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a huge shout out to MCU Body, Lennox, Cover Seal, Bucked Up, the guys at Ryko, and huge thank you to them for a phenomenal season in the Coke Series. And also, like I said, props to Rhett and Jacob. And unfortunately, I know Bradley, had his issue with the fuel, but he was up there, and it would have been a great race if we'd all been able to stick together. But definitely, shout out to them. It was good racing with them.
I'll tell you what, the sponsors certainly got a good shout out there at the line with how close that finish was. Got a bright view of him here sitting on the broadcast right now. Thanks for talking to us again, Garrett, and hopefully we'll see you here next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, and now we're going to see if we can bring in your winner. I believe he has already the most wins in the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series, and if he didn't, he might now. It's John Ward for Team Ward, the team captain himself. John, off the booth, got a copy.
I got you.
Well, we just heard the flip side of it. You won by less than 1,000th of a second. I still can't even tell looking at my cameras up here that you won, but somehow you held them off right there at the line. But first of all, I mean, where did you come from there? We look into the final restart. You're nowhere in sight. All of a sudden, coming out of turn 4, you're in the top 5 looking for a chance to win it, and you do just that.
Yeah. It was all go at that point. They started wrecking down low, and I got through it. When we going through the next turn, they started wrecking up high, and somehow I got through the wreck, pushing Baker there. I knew he had a little bit of damage, and I was going to stay with him, and Garrett was blocking him, and it got crazy. I jumped high, got some help from Vicente, and Garrett come up, and he got into me, and I thought he tried to run me over afterwards, But anyways, I almost saved it, lost it. It looked like he got across the line before I did. He gave it to me, but I'll take the win. It didn't look too pretty, but I did a hell of a job trying to save it. I think I did enough to get there.
Well, you did enough to win it while sliding 45 degrees sideways, so congrats on that. But, hey, team captain in the event, one of the guys with, if not the most, tied with the most wins here for the PGR Thursday Night Heat Series, and you tack on another one here tonight. So for anybody looking to get into it, or maybe some of the drivers watching, what advice do you have to continue to find these great finishes?
Just be smart and just try not to use all your patience up at the beginning. Have a little bit for the end and save your stuff. If you're up there racing hard the whole time, you get caught up in stuff, just lay back and, watch how people drive and, just try to stay clean. I know it always don't work out that way, but just try to keep your nose clean there.
Well, before we let you go here tonight, John, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Thank PGR for this event. This was the first draft event. I loved it. It was giving me a chance to work with other people that I didn't know anything about and get to know them a little bit. So that was real interesting. And just the whole event itself was wonderful. So I want to thank them. And I want to thank you guys for broadcasting and Michael always for putting a good show on.
All right. Well, thanks again for talking to us, John. Congratulations, the winner of the inaugural PGR Team Draft event. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
And we're going to put John back down to his team. If we can find him here. But, man, what a finish. We're going to go over the results in just a moment. And it looks like Chris Carter says finish doesn't show that way. Chad Ross says it certainly does. Real as you could get. Transponders in the rear of the truck. The rear of John's truck's closer because he's sideways. And if that's the case, I did not know that. That is interesting. Interestingly enough. But here we go. Taking a look at the results here. Final results. It's going to be John Ward finishing in first here tonight. Garrett Maines came home in second by less than 1,000th of a second. Vicente Guerrero finishes up in third. Cody Nagels fourth. Matthew Baker rounding out the last individual money spot. He finishes fifth. DJ Thomas back in sixth. Jason Maines in seventh. John Ellis Jr. in eighth with Dawson Wise in ninth. And Andrew Navarro rounding out your top 10. Kyler Wynn 11th. Nas Brambilla back in 12th. John Mullahan in 13th. Chris Blanchard in 14th with Jeff Merck in 15th. Brock Westmoreland in 16th. Rhett Tucker in 17th. William Fox rounding out your top 18th with Michael Triscaro in 19th. And Devin Ray in 20th. Christopher McCall finishes 21st. Sean Corbett in 22nd. Ken McCall Jr. in 23rd. Gabe Butler 24th. Christian Martinez in 25th. Jacob Emery 26th. Dylan Jones 27th. Mark Vondell 28th. Anthony English 29th. Richard Elliott in 30th. David Davis in 31st. Kevin Freeze 32nd. Joshua McCall 33rd with Ron Morse Jr. in 34th. Brian Kaiser finishes in 35th. Trevor Osmanoff in 36th with Matt Lee 37th. Mike Davenport in 38th. William H. Scott in 39th. And Dustin Carruthers rounding out your top 40. Heath Jobe finishes 41st. Ryan Baste in 42nd. Danny Barnes in 43rd with John Darnell in 44th. Andrew Schroeder 45th. Bradley Steffen in 46th. Thomas Parker finishes in 47th. And Kenneth Stamper, of course, with the internet issue, finishes tonight in that last 48th position. Well, I'll tell you what, the first Team Draft PGR event, it did not disappoint. It was exciting all the way through. I love the format, and the finish was an absolute thriller. Did not disappoint. Again, another big shout out to the sponsor of tonight's race, Kanawha Valley Key Fob. Make sure you go check them out if you're anywhere near the Charleston, West Virginia area. They do specialize in automotive keys and fobs. But that's about all I got here. Appreciate everybody coming out. I hope you all did enjoy. Be back again next Thursday with your regular Thursday night heat series for the PGR guys. And on Saturday, we do head back to Noma. Going to start another 3-week streak of a couple really exciting tracks. Make sure you don't miss out on those. But as for that, I'll leave you on that note. Again, big thanks to Baker's Mom for the super chat, $10, and I hope everybody has a great night. We'll see you next time.